Yo, here live with Crypto Cliff, Saturday morning.
What's
Saturday
going
morning.
on?
You got it, man. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Woke up early, got my workout in.
Yeah.
Went and got some breakfast for my kids, cooked breakfast for my kids, man. It's kind
Oh
of a
man.
rainy Saturday here in Georgia, but
Mhm.
it was a beautiful Saturday. Beautiful Saturday. How about yourself, bro?
Man, I'm just impressed, since my kids is gone, just being able for you to get up early and get some of your stuff done and then but still get back and hang out with the kids because Saturday is that morning where they get to sleep in a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Unfortunately for me, I don't even know what sleeping in is, bro.
I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about the kids.
Oh yeah, the kids. Oh, my kids sleep in perfectly well, man. It don't matter to them, man. They can sleep to 11 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, in the morning they want to. Yeah, man. Saturday morning is that time where you can actually kind of recharge yourself from
Yeah.
everything that happened in the week.
That's what I'm doing today. I wanted to get up here and go live early because my wife flies back from your neck of the woods. Actually, she's in Fort Walton Beach, Florida,
Okay.
visiting her dad, and she's been gone since Tuesday. So I got to clean up. So I went out this morning and got the cleaning supplies and I always one of the things my wife likes when she comes home is fresh flowers. So I went and got some little flowers and I'm about to clean up, man. I'm sweeping, mopping, washing dishes because I don't clean up every day when she ain't here. I try to live in two rooms, the bedroom and the kitchen. You know
I
what I'm saying?
understand. I understand, man. When the women come back home from a long trip, man, they kind of they want things back to the way they actually left
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. So that's what my Saturday morning is going to consist of. But man, you brought up an interesting thing in a discussion. Someone named Facebook user said good morning. They didn't follow our directions, but hey, good morning. And I hope it's a nice young lady with that heart emoji.
We say pause, man, pause.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna go look right quick. Let's see if I can see it. No, it ain't there. Right here. Okay. How you doing, Lisa Baldwin? So it is one of the sisters, and that's a good thing. Yeah, uh, Lisa, I will tell you that being an old married man, you learn how to pick your your spots to do something small that makes everybody cool, and that's what I choose to do. She would probably prefer that I clean up every day, but she understands that day before I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna clean it up. But I'm not that messy, you know what I'm saying? How about you, Cliff?
Ain't no comment, bro. No comment, man. You see my truck right now, you be like, yeah, nah, that can't be it. That can't be it, man.
Yeah.
But I try to keep myself clean. At least my house is always clean. But having three girls, three kids,
Yeah.
it's always gonna be something messed up somewhere.
Hey man, look, I got this dog, and I'm telling you, the biggest mess has been made is by this dog. And
I believe it. I
and,
believe it.
he's house trained and ain't like he's doing nothing inside the house, but he like if it's a sock laying around, he gonna eat that sock. So it's a series of socks and towels that he got access to. But I wanted to get to what we were talking about, man. You came up with something that always just really sat with me in a way that was comfortably uncomfortable with, like, I think that's one of your words, and it's how we are our own worst enemy. And I say we as a person, but I also say we as black people. Um a lot of times we are our biggest enemy. And a lot of times when you see that person in a position of power, like if they're a police officer, a judge, or a corporate executive, seems like they go out of their way to show the other people that they're not gonna show us any favoritism when everybody else favors their own. Like, is that the direction you were going, or is it something different?
Oh, most definitely, man. I know we talked about this a couple of days about going live on this subject. But I had kind of like an epiphany moment this morning.
Yeah.
And I was speaking about that judge. I actually had a debate with somebody on TikTok about that judge who just, was the first black woman who was appointed, Supreme Court judge, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit there and thought about it. I thought about it and I contemplated on it for a while. And I want to say, why are we so happy with becoming the first in a white supremacist society? Why are we so happy with becoming the first position in a white supremacist society when we're literally the first people to do everything?
Right.
So why are we happy that we become a supreme judge? Or we had the first black president of the United States when we were literally the first people, period.
Yeah.
We were the first people to speak language. We were the first people to write. We were the first mathematic scientists. We were the first scientists, period. We were the first philosophers. We were the first world travelers. Yeah. We were the first people who built civilization. So why are we so happy or so content with just being the first people of a society that was already built to begin with, first off? Why are we so comfortable with trying to have a position in this society that truly shows us that they don't care about us, period?
Man, if you get to that level where you're the first, Supreme Court justice or the first president or the first police chief, you have to subscribe and play along with the rules of these white supremacist organizations. You just have to. There's no way around it. You can't be someone with a Malcolm X mentality and keep climbing. And so when I see a person get to that level, I think one or two things. They played the game. And sometimes I'm cool with people playing the game to get to where they're going and then, get there and then affect change. Right.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, I look at other races and a lot of people, will beat you upside your head if you say, oh, man, voting is not important to me because, all of our ancestors died. But I often ask them, what's the number one group of people who don't vote? And people are surprised to find out that that's Asian people. Asian people are they're not trying to get into this system because they were interned in this country and they understand, hey, you know what, man, look, we just going to get our money right and we're going to buy politicians. But it's us who want to be so close to master and so like our oppressors that we really think it's a big victory for a person to become the first black this or that, compared to our Asian brothers who will come and put hair shops and nail shops and whatever else that they can sell to us, and then take their kids and educate them and put them in different spaces, all off of our backs.
Exactly. I mean, when it comes down to it, man, the problem with us lies is that we don't have we have culture, but we don't own our own culture.
Right.
They own their culture. You never see them go outside of different, even go outside of their culture. Say, for instance, like a Chinese person. They will always be a Chinese person. They're just an American that happens to be someone of Chinese descendants. But they will always honor that culture of China.
Right.
Even when you come down to our Caribbean and African brothers and sisters, they have culture. Yeah. Like a Jamaican. A Jamaican gonna show you he's Jamaican from the jump. He's not gonna say I'm a black American. I'm a Jamaican.
Yes.
And was born here, but it's still Jamaican. When it comes down to us as Black Americans are people of slave descent here in America, we don't know our culture. We own all this culture. We started everything. We started hip hop. We started rock and roll, country music. They're just the music genre. We built electricity. The first electrician, the first person who actually discovered electricity was not Benjamin Franklin. It was his slave who actually know how to convert the electricity into certain positive where you can actually host it and actually use it and make it useful for society. We created all this stuff. Yet we don't own any of it.
And then, even when we go to electricity, there's evidence that the pyramids were lit. And since there was no soot, there's it couldn't have been fire. You know what I mean? And so, our great societies in the past had libraries, light.
I can tell you exactly how it was lit.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I study Kemetic history or Kemetic science. A lot of people say Egyptology, but Egyptology is just a small fraction of what Kemetic history actually is. Most people don't know when you go to the pyramids, and I've seen them with my own eyes. Yeah, the top of the pyramids are missing. It's because that top of the pyramid was actually pure gold, and light from the sunlight shined into, and from the moonlight shined into that gold, and went into different mirror systems inside of the pyramids. Wow. That's why they call the pharaoh the god of the sun, because he can literally bring sunlight at night from the moonlight. The top of those pyramids of Giza actually were gold plated. Man, a lot of people don't know that.
That's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing that what we come from, it's amazing to think, or sad to think, the job that has been done on us. Even something I seen yesterday, which drove me kind of batty. It's the same but different. Is in Houston. And if anyone on here, we got a handful of people on here, is co-parenting. Just put it in the comments. My oldest child is not by my wife. And there was a time when I had to drop my daughter off back with her mother, and vice versa. And I've met some of the men that she was dating and eventually married. And my baby's mother met my wife when we were dating back in 1990. Well, yesterday, a young lady, or not yesterday, but maybe last week, when he dropped him off, she shot the father of her child. She shot him 4 times, hit him twice, and then chased him in a car and wrecked her car. Went to jail and smiling on the mugshot. But okay, I get that. That's 2 people, right? But what really bothered me was the amount of our women who were my age, and I'm in my 50s, who were justifying it, saying he should not have brought another woman over to, he should have not have moved on, basically. And I'm trying to figure out, when I say we're almost enemy, how come we're not getting along? You know what I'm saying? And I'm starting to see it more and more, is that there's such a divide between Black people, right? And that's the hard part, is how we gonna come together and fight these external forces when we don't have agreements in our own community. You know what I'm saying?
It started in the 70s, bro. It started in the 70s. And and you can literally go back, and because history always tells the story of what actually happened. Right. But most people don't want to go back into the history to actually see the events that occurred, that happened, that's causing the effect that's going on right now. There was disrespect between the Black man and the Black woman. There was a disconnect between us, and it started in the 1970s. Before then, all the music was catered towards loving your wife, loving your woman. Yeah, even up into the 90s. The 90s kind of changed everything. That's when it went to, okay, Black woman versus being a Black woman versus being a whore or a bitch or whatever. You know what I mean? That's when that lingo started coming around. Back in the 70s, you know better than I do, man. It was always just pimps. It was just pimps that disrespected women. Everybody else kind of, idolized that woman.
Right.
But you got to turn around and look at the historical fact that Black women switched on a Black man for government assistance. That's where the disconnect came in at. Now, not saying that it's totally their fault, because a Black man could have went against it. We really could have fought and went against it. But you got to talk about everything they actually hit around that time period. They deindustrialized the cities and schools. Man, back then you can actually go to school. In high school, you can learn how to be a plumber. You can learn how to be an electrician. You can learn how to be a concrete welder. You can learn how to do those things in high school. So when you left high school, you automatically went right into the job field. They deindustrialized the cities, the inner cities. They deindustrialized the school systems. You know what I mean? So so
there was really no way to provide. And then you had the racist hiring practices. Black folks couldn't get into the union. And, even Black GIs or Black veterans couldn't take advantage of the benefits that they went and, serve for. So, no, I totally get it.
Yeah. So when that happened, then they turned around and said, okay, cool. Now the Black man is out here in the depressed area. You can't provide for your children. You can't provide for yourself. Now you either hit the streets or become a dopehead. Or back then, everybody was shooting heroin. Or become a heroin addict because you're dealing with the stresses of life.
Yeah.
So what the government did was, okay, cool. The best thing, the one thing we can take away from the Black community is the family system, because that was the strength of the Black community.
Yeah.
So they turned around and turned our women against us and gave our women, and our women gave us up for government assistance, free healthcare, free food, free housing.
Yeah.
The whole shebang. The government basically became their daddy or their husband.
Lisa says she co-parents. I remember, Lisa, when my daughter was born, and once I got on child support, I realized her mother was getting a lot of these services. So I went and asked if there's any programs available for me as a young father. And the lady at the child support office told me, we got one program. You pay your child support, we won't put you in jail. And so what I ended up doing, because my daughter was born in 87, which was what I think what we're witnessing now, we're seeing the 80s all over again in the economy. And so I got Crypto Cliff on here. We're seeing massive inflation. We're seeing wars, what I call white on white violence. They ain't got nothing to do with us. And we're seeing high interest rates and housing bubbles, all kind of stuff. And there was really no work. Minimum wage was $3.35. I had a job for 10 hours a week working at a department store. So I was making like $40 a week trying to feed my child. So I ended up joining the military to be able to provide child support. And that move, because I was not trying to go to the white man's army, but I also wasn't trying to go to the white man's prison. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
And that move is what moved me from poverty, basically, into the middle class, and to build the ability to be able to take care of my child, to pay the child support, provide the medical and all that. But a lot of people who were my contemporaries had already had criminal records, or couldn't pass the test. You know what I'm saying? And they fell by the wayside. And I got people in my family right now, because of what happened when they were in their 20s, like I was, who are 40 in their late 40s or 50s, who have not fully recovered from being in that system. I call it a criminal system. You know, the only time I was in a criminal was when I was on child support, because all my paperwork came and said the state of Texas versus Troy Knowles. It never said in the interest of Leshay Knowles. So I was basically criminalized for a failed relationship. And I know a lot of men who check out, man, because it's a dignity grab. You know what I'm saying? And it hurts. So I don't blame the women either. But I do understand the plight of the Black man who doesn't have the resources, the skills, or the talent to be able to keep himself afloat for those 18 years while he pays 20% of his income out that is not tax deductible. And so now you got somebody who's being paid less than normal than the average worker, who's having 20% of his income leave, and he's not getting the tax benefit of that, man. It's a horrible system.
Terrible system, man. Not only that, man, imagine the brothers out there that have a child. I think they have a child by a woman, and doing the positive thing and taking care of that child for 18 plus years, and just to find out that child wasn't his to begin with. And there's no criminal action that can be taking place. There's no payback for that child support. There's nothing to protect that man from that system. Man, and I know a brother like that. I know a brother who did it.
You can find out in year one in Texas, and you can find out that child is not yours. But if you're on child support already, you're gonna ride that out.
Oh yeah, man. I promise you, man. I got a brother, man. I ain't gonna put his name out there, but him and his brother end up messing around with the same woman.
Oh.
And the judge turned around and said, well, both of y'all are gonna pay child support until you start looking like one of y'all.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
And it come to find out 15 years later, the child wasn't either one of theirs.
Damn.
Yeah. I also know another brother who actually went and paid for a child for 18 plus years. On the child's 18th birthday, the mother came to him and told him this little girl ain't yours to begin with.
And he didn't shoot her, right?
Nah, he beat the hell out of her. He shoot. yeah, he beat the hell out of her. He actually turned the hell out of her, bro.
I was trying to make a point about this young lady who shot this brother, but I guess it's emotion. Hey, Lisa, thank you. She said she's learning real facts, and I'm glad Lisa's in here, man, because a lot of times we're just talking about among men. But I want Black women to know, especially I hear Cliff speak on all the time, they must be protected at all costs, right? And even though sometimes we're our own worst enemy, it's the enemy I prefer, because I know how evil the other forces could be. Because for me, I tell people all the time, and I'm not ashamed of it, I swore off white people in 2005, meaning, no jobs, and I try to exist outside of, their systems. So even when I do work for other contractors, I go through somebody. But what happens is when you don't work with the majority, Black businesses don't have infrastructure, right? And so you're gonna deal with some nigga shit, basically.
Oh yeah, and on top of that, Black businesses we don't trust each other. Point blank, period. And I give you a perfect example of this. Like right now, I have a program where I'm actually teaching people cryptocurrency, how to invest into the crypto market. And I kind of shut down my original program because I've been teaching since 2017 teaching people how to invest into the crypto market.
Yeah.
And to give you a perfect example, man, I was teaching whites, white people, Indian people, and Asian people since 2017. And I was charging them $2,000 a pop.
Right.
And guess what they was telling me?
It ain't enough. You ain't charging enough.
Bro, you're not charging enough. Like a real talk, bro. You're not charging enough. This is cheap. But when I tell my black people, I'm cutting my prices completely down to where I will teach you for $600, or you can join my group session for $250. Man, that's too much money, man. Yeah. Well, I have to ask you, how much is your financial future worth?
Well, you know what, that's a trick question for in our community. I think, I think it's a trick question because a lot of people don't think about their financial future, so they haven't assigned a worth to it. But you got people like Lisa Baldwin who say, "I'm a single mother and I want better for myself and my boys," and to a lot of times it takes that switch that somebody has to make that turn. Because I was just telling the brother the other day that we don't think past the month. Sometimes we so short term focused rather than being focused on. Because Lisa Baldwin's kids are gonna age out at some point. They're gonna be 18. They're gonna be 20. They're gonna be 30. I know because all my kids are grown, and the financial lessons that they learn at home are the ones they're gonna carry with them. And if those weren't healthy habits, they're gonna repeat the same thing or something similar, rather than what you've been able to do with your children is change the mindset early, so they won't have that poverty mentality that a lot of people in our community struggle with.
Okay, so you give them a month, bro. I don't give them a month. I give them a couple of days. I think people don't think past a couple of days, honestly. Yeah. I know people who think about an hour because they just don't see any type of future. People are so comfortable in their misery that they don't see a way out of it. Like old people used to say, shit don't change till you get up and wash your ass. And if you sit in that shit long enough, you stop smelling it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hey, real talk. Yeah. It's just like that, man. A lot of times, man, you don't smell your own stuff, but people around you smell it. But people, when it comes down to it, it's like your breath. You don't smell your own breath, but everybody around you know your breath funky, and everybody talking shit behind your back. But the thing is, man, you have to learn. We have to learn how to first off trust each other, right? And stop thinking that trust comes in another skin tone. That's the big heavy hitter. You think trust comes in another skin tone. And I give y'all a perfect example. I have a cousin who actually owns a Toro business. Yes. And people would come to him, but would be real skeptical about actually using his cars for his Toro business because of his skin color. He's a young black man. He literally had to hire a old white dude to represent him, and his business went up 60%. Yeah. Think about that. He had to hire an old white man to represent a young successful black man, just for his business to level up 60%. Man, look, when I was a young man in the tech field, I had to do the same thing. And I had a tech company, and I put my website up, and it had pictures of 9 people on there. 8 of them was white. And people who knew me would come to me, man, why you got all the white folks on your site? I said, man, because when I put the black folks on there, first of all, that's not my client base. And then number 2, they don't trust it. They don't trust it. And I was in my 20s. They didn't trust it. I could be that smart to be able to pull this off. So my business partner was a white dude. My business partner was a white dude who was probably 10 years older than me. And I would say, hey, man, I need you to come out here and close this deal. And he would get upset saying, no, Troy, you're smart. You can handle it. I was like, man, look, I don't care what they think of me. I just need to pick up the check. So I need you to get out here and be the boss. And don't tell them I'm your partner. Tell them, you're my supervisor. You're my manager. And he could not understand that. And a lot of times, the privilege that white folks have, some of them since they don't have constant interactions with us, they don't see it. They don't see it. They really don't see it. But it's not their job to see it. Yeah, it's baked in. Yeah, it's so baked in. Like I remember, when we dissolved that partnership, we were partners for like 10 years. And I probably never seen them again. We say hi to each other on Facebook, and my kids will say, hey, why don't we vacation with them anymore? And I explained to them, said, like, man, look, when them white folks can't make money off of you, or even with you, they have no use for you. And they don't even know that they trip. Matter of fact, one time we sued each other, right? And after we came out of court, which I won, he asked me, if we wanted to go to dinner. And I was like, yo, no, I don't fuck with you no more. Like,
but they say it's only business.
Yeah, we take everything personal. Everything we do, we take everything personal. But it's truly just business. It's truly business.
But I wasn't mature enough for understanding how the world worked, because if you wrong a black person, they don't want nothing to do with you, period. Right? And sometimes we have to learn to put our feelings aside. Even in that co-parenting situation, like one of my biggest regrets, and I don't do a lot of regret thing, is I wish I would have been a better co-parent. You know what I'm saying? Rather than, because I came up, man, they treated me bad. They took me to court, but then I came up. And when I came up, I put it in everybody's face, because, you know, her family said I wasn't going to be this, I wasn't going to be that. And so I was a little upset. So I pull up to court in my convertible M3, you know what I'm saying? And since I, had an S corp and a real business, that's nothing we don't do. We don't do our paperwork right. The state could only access my payroll, what I was paying, basically what the S corp was paying me, and so my child support was never really a problem, right? But they would get so upset with me because I followed the rules. You know what I'm saying? But I could have did a better job of not, just throwing it in their face. I could have been a better person, but I was in my feelings, and I was trying to prove to them that I was something bigger than what they thought I was. When in fact, it was detrimental to my daughter's relationship, my daughter and her mother and our relationship. I mean, it's fine now because we don't have to deal with each other. She's 34 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. I feel you, man. People don't realize, man, the system is not personal. Racism even is not personal. Racism is a business. It's a business.
Yeah.
It's all about it's baked into everything. It's totally a business. So we need to start looking at things as a business. Right. We need to start conducting ourselves as a business, because you as a personal entity, you are a business. Right. If you look up your social security number right now, your social security number is linked to the e-commerce system. You literally are a business.
You're a product. You're a
product. You're a product of the United States of America. So start seeing yourself as such and start moving accordingly as such. Stop living day by day, because I'm gonna tell you something, man. One of the biggest things I learned from my grandparents, man. It's not my grandfather more, but more so my grandmother was. When she got up in age before she passed, she started telling me about a lot of things she wished she would have done. She wished she would have done this. She wished she would have done that. She wished she would have moved this way instead of that way. Right. It was something, just as small as a cruise. I was having a conversation with her about a cruise, and she was like, yeah, that's something I never really, really wanted to do, but I always wish I could have done. Right. Now I'm old enough and I'm in the bed. I can't do that. I can't make that move anymore. And we got to start looking at ourselves as people that your life matters. Most people walk around on a day-to-day basis like their life doesn't matter. You basically just waiting to die. Right. Versus living. But to get back on the subject, we gotta go off subject a little bit.
That's good, because a lot of times is black folks, we don't see outside of the possibility. We don't see the possibilities a lot of times, because we've been told that it's not pop. I can't tell you how many times I was doing shit that people said, man, that's white folk shit. It might be something like horseback riding or surfing. But basically, it was expanding my mind into areas that I can then turn around and teach my kids about different things. Owning a business. I had my elders tell me, man, I tried that business shit, it didn't work. And who do that's what white folks do. That's not going to be successful.
That's the talk that we have all the time, man. When I was 9 years old, I told one of my aunts, I ain't gonna mention her name because me and her ain't good terms right now anyway. but I had one of my aunts tell me, and I said, when I get older, I'm gonna be rich. I want to be rich. I'm gonna be wealthy. I said, I want to be wealthy. One of my favorite shows. I know you remember this show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Yep, Robin.
Man, I used to watch that show with my grandparents religiously every weekend. Yeah, and that's one of my favorite shows because it showed me something outside of the area, outside of my era at that time, outside of Pensacola. I'm like, I want that. I want to go to Beverly Hills, even though I ain't know Beverly Hills was number like 3 square miles. I want to go over here. I want to do this. I want to go to Hawaii. Yeah, looking over there. Like I'm thinking this is like one of the biggest places in the world. 3 square miles. Yeah. but it gave me a different light on life, a different look on life. Yeah. So I told Mom, I said, when I get older, when I get become an adult, I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. I want to own this. I want to own that. She looked me dead in my face and said, you'll never have that. She's like, the only thing, it's not in our bloodline to be rich. It's not in our bloodline to be wealthy. The only thing you can ever wish for is to be comfortable.
Yeah. Look, man.
I dismantled that.
the thing is Lisa said she hears I hear that all the time. I want to show and prove myself. And the thing is, Lisa, is all you have to do, in my opinion, not all you have to do, but you have to get away from small-minded people. And there are people who need they need to put their misery of what they didn't have access to, and then put it off on you. You know what I'm saying? But now is the best time for a young woman, especially a young Black woman, to come up. And I honestly believe that. And so you have to be around people who straight. You can't be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person, the richest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, and those people are trying to pull up to your level. And so sometimes you have to stretch your circle out. And then other times you have to keep your intentions to yourself, because you don't know who's around who wants to kill your dream. Because like they say, misery loves company. And so you start talking stuff at the level of, say, someone like Cliff does, and then you'll have some silent haters who end up their first cousins. Or some people say you sometimes just sleeping with the enemy. Sometimes it's your own spouse or significant other, or the person who knew you as a child, who is praying for your downfall. And so you have to keep your dreams close to yourself, because there will be people who will piss on your dreams or try to move against them in a subconscious way, because they don't even understand it. Like, I love my family, but I love visiting them on Thanksgiving and Christmas. and I'm at the age now where I have cousins, and they're cousins who call me Unc because of our age difference, who have been told that since I was having success that there was something wrong with me. I thought I was better than everybody. Now those cousins are hitting their 30s and they're reaching out to me, hey, Unc, can I get some advice from you? And I give that advice outside of their parents, not in a malicious way, but say, hey, look, now that you're 30, this is how you have to think. This is how you have to dismantle what you've been told. And you have to go back and look and see why you believe that you can't have. And I think a lot of it is based on what we learn in church, because a rich man, the hard to get into heaven, you got to go through an eye of a needle or some shit like that, right? But even if you interpret that, the eye of a needle was 9 foot, it was 6 foot tall, and a camel was 9 foot tall. It was like the entrance into like a castle or some shit like that,
Yeah, and, man, it's crazy.
And it is so much honor in poverty in the Black Christian world. But then you got the other side that you got the prosperity people just naming and claiming it's going to fall out the sky. And in my opinion, a lot of times they don't want to do the work that it takes, because it's not just going to show up. It's a mindset, and it's the way you move. What do you think about what I just said, Cliff?
Oh, man, you're totally on point, man. Especially, and I take it even further than the Black church, the Black conscious community. It's Black leadership in a whole. I did a video on TikTok not too long ago, probably a couple of days ago, and I basically said what you said. If your leader, if your pastor, if your Black conscious leader, if your activist leadership company or whatever is not telling you how to get wealth, but steady taking wealth out of your pocket, you can find you another leadership. Straight up. I don't care who you are. I don't care who get mad about me saying it. I don't give a damn. If the person who you're giving money to be your mentor, or to be your adversary, or be your the person you go to get advice from.
Yeah.
If they're not helping you gain wealth, but steady taking wealth out of your pocket and taking food out of your mouth, find you another leader.
Yeah.
Point blank, period. I don't care who it is.
Yep. Because leadership, a lot of times once you, like, I remember when I started making more money than my pastor, it became a problem for him. And I seen it right away. You know what I'm saying? And because when a person has less money from you in the organization, it's about control. But you look at the NBA, the NFL, these guys make more than the coach, but they still respect the coach. So there's a model for how this thing works. You know what I'm saying? But in our communities, it's like, you got your pastor, and I don't want to come down on pastors because it's an easy target, but you have your leader, your politician, your local person who you've helped get to where they were going, and they're living in the gated community, and you're struggling to make your light bill.
Yeah, you can't even walk up to their front door and knock on their front door.
Right.
I've seen churches, especially here in Metro Atlanta, to where the pastor is sitting on the stage and his police officers literally down there guarding him at the bottom of the pulpit, just so you won't have access to that pastor. But yet he has access to your pocket.
Right.
At the end of the day, you have to look out for yourself, because at the end of the day, everybody uses everybody. It's just whether you're using somebody and y'all are reciprocating that use for each other.
Right.
But if somebody's not pouring back into you wealth, but you're steady giving them wealth and making them wealthy, you can find yourself another leader. Point blank, period.
You know, it's funny, man. You've been around a long time. We've been around in these business circles, and I constantly hear you talk about when you're training in crypto that this is not MLM. This is not MLM. And you know, nothing against MLM, but a lot of times when a person is introducing you to something like that is because they need you to bump them up to another level.
Yep.
They don't care that, you know, and when people bring that to you, I always say, you know what, you must just need me in your downline to go, because only the top few are going to really make it. But the thing I like about your training is you don't stay in their pocket. You get them up and just hope that they reciprocate when they find that hot tip. I remember that one time where you found a brother who had a hot tip and he didn't give it to you after you did all the training.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
If you would have been in the same room with him, man, it would have been way worse than that Will Smith slap.
Oh, yeah, man. Most definitely, man. One thing I had to start doing is I had to start getting paid for my time. I put a lot of time into Black Millionaire Mindset Only group. Yeah. And you know for a fact, man, we've been in that group, 2 years now? For the first year, probably a year and 4 or 5 months, we were putting out information after information, making brothers millionaires left and right. Yeah. And it was free information. I gave access to my phone number to a lot of people, man. My email address, my Facebook Messenger. I was getting 60, 70, almost 80 calls a day sometimes, man, from brothers who wanted advice, who wanted to learn how to actually get into this market. And at the end of it, when it came down for them to support my cause, support my business, for me to actually outreach and get more students and gain more students and kind of build this product up, I didn't that respect on that reciprocation. That reciprocation wasn't there, bro. It really wasn't there. Takers. Yeah, it was takers, a bunch of takers, to be honest. Now I'm not saying all the brothers, because I had some brothers who actually came in and actually wanted to help. They came in and they helped out. But the vast majority of them, they were just taking information. They wasn't putting more information back into the group. No, you know, and that's a sad thing, to be honest. It's a sad thing to say, man, because when you come into this game right now, my goal is to get 10,000 students by the end of this year. Point blank, period. I'm pushing to get 10,000 students by the end of this year, because I'm not just building a network when people can come to me as a mentor. I'm building a community so we can all share information together. Imagine having 10,000 people who are all doing research in different areas that I train personally to move and focus exactly like I do. I've been successful when it came down to stock trading. I've been successful when it came to crypto investing. And I want to make more people successful just the way I am. But imagine 10,000 people who are on the same accord, moving the markets. That's the community I'm building right now. But it takes focus and it takes work. What?
Yeah. The sad part is at some point you're going to have to make a decision if you want to build your community, like I know you do, or if you want to build something, and you might have to put the white face on it. And look, I've done videos, sales videos, where I hire my white partner's son, because he's a good looking blue-eyed white boy, and it performed way better than me with my facial hair. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. And it's probably going to come to that point pretty soon, man, because our people are not supporting the people who supported them. Point blank, period. Right. Our people are not putting in the work behind the brother who actually put in the work behind them. If I helped you in any way, it's your obligation to go out, not even to help me, but to go help somebody else.
Right.
Because you got help to get to that level where you were.
There we go.
And I mean, at the end of the day, I can stop doing everything I'm doing right now with Crypto Cliff, and I'm gonna be fine. I'll be good. I'll go back to doing what I was doing. I can go back to day trading the market, and I'll be perfectly fine. But my goal and my mission is to help people get into this and get into the crypto market and the stock market eventually as well too. But my goal is to help people. So if you want help, hit me up. If not, we're moving on to the next one. But one thing I cannot allow anymore is somebody to actually use me for my information. Right. And not breathe that life back into what I'm doing.
Yeah, like my mama used to say, you're gonna screw me with a nail and not even give me a reach around. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man.
Hey man, well look, I gotta get to cleaning up, man. I got Lisa said she's down. Lisa said she's down.
Oh yeah, Lisa always been support. She's one of my biggest supporters, man. I appreciate it.
Where's Lisa at? In Pensacola?
Yeah, that's Pensacola. That's family right there. Pensacola. Yeah.
Right, man. I spent some time in Pensacola. I really enjoyed my time in the Florida Panhandle. And back then no one knew what it was. I had never heard of Pensacola before I moved to Fort Walton Beach in 1988, I think. And I was pleasantly surprised just by the beauty of that region. You know what I'm saying? So
untouched, yeah, man.
Yeah, back then it was like I've been trying to explain it to people, man. I said, just get on, go to Houston, get on Interstate 10, and then when you cross the Florida state line, you'll just stop, turn to the right. You know what I'm saying? I used to go to the horse races. Yeah, man.
Never been to one. Been in Pensacola most of my life. Never been to a horse.
It's right down the street.
I rode past it 1,000 times. Never been to one, bro.
Yeah, man. I used to hang out in Inslee.
Oh yeah, Inslee.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know a little bit about them Pensacola streets, man. A little bit, just a little bit. But hey, all right, man. I'm gonna get ready to clean up, man. I know you always have a good saying you want to say. Well, let's get to that saying so I can get back to these dishes.
I got you, bro. Listen, people. We have to start supporting each other in every aspect of life. We have to start pouring life and breathing life into each other. Stop trusting everybody else that does not have our skin tone when you don't trust your own skin tone. There's Black people out here that are willing to help, willing to push you forward, willing to help you in your business, willing to help you learn how to invest, willing to learn how to help you spiritually and physically. So we need to start learning how to breathe life back into each other. But it all takes mindset. You know what I like to say, man, in order to change your situation, whether it's financial, physical, spiritual, you have to change your mindset. And when you change your mindset, you elevate your life. Peace.
Amen. And on that note, we are out here. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. And let's figure out ways to make sure we learn how to work with each other.
Yeah.